4 engines refused to light. Half a second later, the most powerful rocket ever built shut itself down on purpose. That half-second decision is the only reason Booster 20 still exists today. This is the exact physics of why those 4 engines failed and why failing was the plan working. July 16, 6:45 p.m. Eastern, Starbase, Texas. Full stack, fully fueled, 11.5 million pounds of methane and oxygen already loaded. Ignition sequence starts on all 33 Raptor 3 engines on Super Heavy. 29 catch, 4 don't. The flight computer reads the mismatch in milliseconds and kills the sequence before a single bolt releases from the mount. This wasn't a routine scrub. Flight 13 is only the second flight of the upgraded Starship V3 configuration, and it's carrying the first real payload the vehicle has ever attempted to deploy, 20 next-generation Starlink V3 satellites. It's also the first Starship launch attempt since SpaceX went public in June. Shares closed at $131.11 that day, already under the IPO price, then slid another 3% in aftermarket trading within minutes of the abort. A 4-engine gap at T-0 doesn't just delay a test flight anymore, it moves a market. Here's the part almost nobody explained correctly that night. Those 4 engines didn't fail randomly. They failed in a specific, physically predictable way, and the same failure mode nearly happened on Flight 12, 2 months earlier. To understand why, you need to know what ignition actually means inside a Raptor 3, second by second. A Raptor 3 doesn't light like a match, it lights like a controlled detonation cascade. Liquid methane and liquid oxygen are driven into the preburners first, spun up by the turbopumps, and ignited by a torch igniter, a small, separate combustion event whose only job is to prove their stable flame before the main chamber ever sees propellant. That torch has to hit an exact pressure and temperature window. Miss it, and the engine's own controller refuses to open the main valves. It won't gamble on an unconfirmed flame front reaching a chamber running at roughly 350 bar. Now here's the open loop from 10 minutes ago, closed. This is exactly the system Flight 12 already stress-tested and exactly the system SpaceX rebuilt in response before Flight 13 ever reached the pad. Flight 12, May 2026, Starship V3's first flight, lost 5 of Super Heavy's 33 engines during the boost back burn, the relight that's supposed to fly the booster back toward the tower. That cost SpaceX a controlled splashdown. The upper stage lost a 6th engine early too. 2 engine ignition failure modes, 1 flight, same vehicle generation. Flight 13's failure is different in one critical way. It happened at initial T-0 startup, not an in-flight relight, meaning it's the harder, colder start version of the same ignition physics. Fact: only 29 of 33 engines ignited. SpaceX has not published which specific 4. Fact: Musk confirmed 2 engines are being pulled and replaced, meaning the root cause was isolated to hardware, not software or fueling. Fact: no hardware was lost and the vehicle never left the mount. The abort system did precisely what it was built to do. So, if Flight 12's failure was in flight and Flight 13's was on the pad, what did SpaceX actually change between the two? The answer is in the one part of the sequence most people skipped past. After Flight 12's boost back failures, SpaceX modified the booster's engine startup sequence specifically around the flip maneuver, the moment after stage separation when Super Heavy reorients itself and has to relight engines cold, fast, and off-axis. That's a software and timing change to when and how each engine's torch igniter fires relative to the vehicle's attitude. It's designed to fix the boost back relight problem. It says nothing directly about a cold T-0 start with the vehicle still bolted to the mount. Which is the uncomfortable detail. Flight 13's abort happened in the one phase that change wasn't built to touch. That gap is exactly why this abort deserves more scrutiny than a routine scrub, and exactly why SpaceX's decision to swap hardware, not software, tells you where they think the real fault line is. If the fix were a timing or sequencing bug, SpaceX would patch flight software and fly again within days. Instead, 2 physical Raptor 3 units are coming off Booster 20, the kind of decision that only makes sense if telemetry pointed to something inside those specific engines, a torch igniter that didn't confirm flame, a turbopump spin-up lagging tolerance, or a propellant valve sequencing outside its window on those units alone. 2 engines flagged out of 33 is a localized failure, not a systemic Raptor 3 design flaw, which is the actual good news buried in this story. Here's the observation that gets lost in every headline calling this a failure. The Abort computer had every reason to let this fly anyway, and it didn't. 29 engines is still enough thrust, on paper, to get Super Heavy off the mount. SpaceX has flown Starship on previous test campaigns with less than a full 33-engine complement mid-flight before. The computer didn't ask, can this still lift off? It asked, was this the flight profile we certified? And the answer was no. That distinction, flying what's possible versus flying what's proven, is the entire design philosophy behind every Starship abort criterion since the program began. An uncrewed test vehicle carrying $75 billion of public market attention still doesn't get to skip its own rulebook. 2 Raptors come off, 2 go on, Booster 20 gets re-inspected in Mega Bay 1, and SpaceX retargets in launch window opening July 20th at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. If that attempt clears T-0 clean, it tells you the fault really was isolated to 2 engines. If it doesn't, if a different set of engines hesitates, that reopens the fleet-wide question this section just closed. So here's the actual question this video was building toward the whole time. Is 4 engines out of 33 a rounding error for a rocket this size, or the first visible edge of a Raptor 3 reliability problem that Flight 12 already hinted at? The single new fact this whole story turns on isn't the abort itself. Aborts are the system succeeding. It's that Flight 12 and Flight 13 are now 2 consecutive V3 flights with 2 different ignition failure modes on the same 33-engine architecture, one in flight, one on the pad. That's not damning on its own, but it's the first time in the Starship program that Raptor reliability at scale has stopped being a theoretical concern and started being a pattern with a date attached to it. July 20th either breaks that pattern or confirms it. Mark July 20th. When Flight 13 relights, I'll have the engine-by-engine breakdown up within hours of the stream ending, not days later. If you want to know whether it's 2 engines or 33 the moment the data is public, that's the video to be subscribed for. Drop your